but my girlfriend's Janet Jackson. I'm married to Beyonce, and then my girlfriend's Janet Jackson.
But yeah. That's
kind of crazy.
Janet Jackson.
All right, why all get ready because this is going to be a wild ride. Orlando Brown has just dropped a bombshell that's been on people's minds for years. He's finally admitting something that's been making us all wonder. He acts crazy to expose the dark side of the industry and to protect himself. Yep, you heard that right. His life's been in danger for a while, and we're about to break it all down. So what's really going on with Orlando? What does he know that we don't? Let's get into it. For a while now, Orlando Brown has been on our radar, mostly because of his wild behavior. But here's the twist, what if there's more to it than just him acting out? It all started when Orlando, who was a young star from That's So Raven, started spilling some serious tea about the industry. And trust me, this wasn't your regular celebrity gossip. Orlando was calling out some of the biggest names in the game. The most shocking part of his story? It all began with none other than Diddy. Orlando said that dark things happened to him when he was younger, things no kid should ever have to go through. And when he started working with Diddy, he didn't just get mentorship. He talked about some shady situations that had everyone asking, is Orlando just acting out, or is there more truth to what he's saying? Fast forward to today, and Diddy's name is everywhere. Unfortunately, it's not in a good way. Diddy's now facing serious charges, including sexual assault, and now people are starting to rethink Orlando's wild claims. So maybe he wasn't just looking for attention, maybe he was actually trying to tell us something important in a way that would keep him safe. And this isn't just about the symbols and cryptic messages anymore. People are really starting to pay attention to the deeper meaning behind his words. But let's talk about Orlando's recent interview with Cam Capone News, where he went off about Diddy in a way that left the internet shook. We all know Orlando has a reputation for saying things that seem totally out of nowhere, but this time was different. He made some super strange comments and had some weird facial expressions that made everyone sit up and take notice. At one point, Orlando started laughing, licking his lips, and making gestures that made his words sound even more uncomfortable. It wasn't clear if he was hinting at something, but it definitely made people uneasy. While he didn't outright say anything inappropriate happened with Diddy, the way he acted made people wonder if he was trying to say something without actually saying it. And here's the kicker, this isn't just us noticing. Jaguar Wright, a woman who's been calling out the industry for years, believes Orlando wasn't just acting crazy. She thinks his strange behavior was actually his way of exposing the truth while trying to protect himself. Maybe Orlando wasn't just spiraling out of control, maybe he's been trying to tell us all along about the dangerous, hidden side of the industry. But wait, Diddy wasn't the only one Orlando's been calling out. He's been exposing some huge names, and the names he's dropping are making waves. Orlando's hinted at a disturbing pattern in how certain powerful people in the industry treat young stars. He's been saying things that have people questioning everything. His outbursts weren't just random, they were his way of telling us about the ugly truth behind the scenes. Hold on to your seats, because this one is wild. Orlando Brown is back, and he's spilling some serious tea that has everyone talking. In a recent video, Orlando starts naming huge stars from the music industry, claiming he had personal relationships with them. So, yep, you heard that right. He casually mentions Drake, Usher, Busta Rhymes, and even Bow Wow, saying he made love to them all. Now, before you think Orlando's just talking nonsense again, remember he's not the only one who's hinted that Hollywood and the music industry are hiding some dark secrets behind closed doors. But it doesn't stop there. Orlando's been dropping bombshells left and right, and this time he's going even further. On December 1st, Orlando went live on Twitch with Desai Frost, and wow, things got real spicy real fast. Orlando made some shocking claims about Nick Cannon, saying Nick secretly did something intimate with him. Yeah, you read that right. Orlando looked straight into the camera and, in no uncertain terms, said that Nick sucked my dingling. He didn't hold back, he made sure everyone knew what he was talking about. Now, if you're thinking this is too crazy to be true, hold on, because here's the twist. Nick Cannon actually responded, but instead of getting angry or denying anything, Nick took a totally unexpected approach. He went to Instagram and said, "Man, I love this brother Orlando. Sincerely, I believe this young man is brilliant and beyond talented. It hurts me to see him crash out like this, and I'm disappointed in all these media outlets who continue to exploit him." Nick didn't lash out. Instead, he showed sympathy, saying that it's painful to watch Orlando struggle. And just when you think things can't get any crazier, Orlando drops even more wild claims. This time, he's going after two major players in the industry, Jay-Z and Shaquille O'Neal. Yup, Orlando casually says that he might have had intimate encounters with both of them, leaving people wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. His comments about Jay-Z were so shocking, they left everyone speechless. So, what's really going on with Orlando? Is he just out of control, or is he revealing something we all need to pay attention to? Whatever the truth is, it's clear Orlando's been holding back some wild stories. And now it's all coming to light. What do you think about these bombshell claims? Let us know in the comments. Let's dive into this wild story because trust me, it's a roller coaster. Orlando Brown, who's no stranger to controversial comments, just dropped some jaw-dropping claims that have fans talking. He recently made a bizarre statement about Jay-Z, saying that the rap legend had a taste. An appearance that was out there, Orlando described it as Afrocentric and said it tasted like coconut. Yeah, you heard that right. Definitely not the kind of thing you expect to hear about a hip-hop mogul. But wait, it gets even crazier. Orlando didn't stop with Jay-Z, he also had something to say about NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal. Orlando claimed that Shaq had what he called a curry chicken situation, which he described as tasting like Indian curry. At this point, things are getting way out of hand. He didn't hold back either. Orlando casually said, "Shaquille, you got that curry chicken," and continued on with more strange comments. If you're feeling confused, you're not alone. Then Orlando took it even further in an interview where he dropped bombshells about Meek Mill and Rick Ross. He boldly claimed that Meek Mill is secretly gay and that Rick Ross knows about it. When the interviewer asked about rumors involving Meek and Diddy, Orlando didn't hesitate. He said they were in a relationship and even suggested that Rick Ross paid him $2,000 to spill the beans. The interviewer tried to downplay it, but Orlando wasn't backing down. He was on a mission to tell what he believed was the truth. Now, it's easy to dismiss Orlando as just being out of his mind, but here's where things get interesting. Not long ago, a leaked audio clip surfaced that allegedly features Meek Mill in a compromising situation with Diddy. And suddenly, Orlando's statements aren't looking quite so wild anymore. People are starting to question if there's more to his claims than we thought. But it's not just the wild interviews that have made Orlando a controversial figure. He's also had his share of legal troubles. Back in 2022, he was arrested in Ohio after a heated argument with a man named Matthew Sanders. Sanders had been helping Orlando out by letting him stay at his house. Things took a dangerous turn when Orlando allegedly threatened Sanders with a hammer and a knife. He was arrested and taken into custody, where he could be heard telling the officers, "I'm straight, y'all all saved my life." It's just one more chapter in Orlando's chaotic life. So, what's the deal with Orlando Brown? Is he just a guy spiraling out of control, or is there something deeper going on in Hollywood that he's trying to expose? Whatever the truth may be, it seems like Orlando's not stopping anytime soon. The drama keeps building, and we're all just here to watch it unfold. Orlando Brown's life took a serious and unexpected turn when he was arrested and charged with aggravated menacing, an incident that would mark yet another chapter in his troubled journey. Things escalated quickly when he was placed on house arrest, further spiraling his already chaotic life. As the situation unfolded, Orlando maintained his innocence, pleading not guilty to the charges, but the damage to his reputation had already been done. People in the public eye began to question the events that led to the arrest, and the incident became a focal point of controversy, with many wondering what had truly happened between him and Matthew Sanders, the man involved. Orlando's arrest in 2022 was far from the first time he had found himself entangled with the law. The actor, best known for his roles on shows like That's So Raven, had a history of run-ins with authorities, and each incident seemed to add more layers to his complicated, unpredictable persona. His troubled past, filled with personal struggles and legal issues, made it difficult for many to view the arrest as an isolated event. Instead, people began to look at it as another symptom of a much larger issue, one that had been brewing for years. In this most recent case, Orlando's $25,000 bond was set, and he was ordered to have no contact with Sanders. This decision came after Orlando claimed that Sanders had wronged him, and tensions between the two had escalated to a dangerous point. The public learned that Sanders had been letting Orlando stay at his house, attempting to help him out during a rough period in his life. However, things took a dark turn when Orlando reportedly started acting erratically, leading to the violent confrontation. Orlando allegedly threatened Sanders with a hammer and a knife, adding to the seriousness of the charges. Despite pleading not guilty, Orlando's actions and words leading up to the incident made it impossible to ignore the mounting instability in his life. What had once seemed like the antics of a young, troubled star in the spotlight now appeared to be a much deeper issue. Even though the charges were eventually reduced, the question remained what had really transpired between Orlando and Sanders, and why had things escalated to the point of a violent confrontation. As the news of Orlando's arrest spread, the story quickly became a point of public fascination. Many people, especially those who had followed his career and personal struggles over the years, began to wonder if there was more to the situation than met the eye. Was Orlando just another victim of his circumstances, or was there something more sinister at play? His arrest came at a time when Orlando had been very vocal about his experiences in Hollywood, revealing details about the dark side of the entertainment industry that few people were willing to acknowledge. For years, Orlando Brown had been making waves in the media, sharing bizarre, often unbelievable stories about his interactions with some of the biggest names in Hollywood. He had made headlines for claiming that he had been involved in affairs with well-known stars like Drake, Usher, and Nick Cannon. These outlandish claims were dismissed by many as the ramblings of someone clearly struggling with their mental health, but Orlando never backed down, doubling down on his statements in interviews and social media posts. In many ways, his behavior seemed to mirror the turmoil in his personal life, chaotic, erratic, and often leaving people scratching their heads. But with the arrest, people started to take a closer look at Orlando's claims, wondering if there was some truth buried underneath the bizarre stories he had been sharing. Could it be that Orlando's erratic behavior and personal struggles were somehow tied to a much larger conspiracy? Had the entertainment industry, which he had spent years speaking out against, played a role in his downfall? The timing of his arrest was hard to ignore. It came at a moment when Orlando had been particularly vocal, making wild claims about the dark secrets of Hollywood. The public couldn't help but wonder if his arrest had been orchestrated to silence him before he could expose more of the industry's skeletons. The notion that Orlando might be the target of a larger scheme is not entirely far-fetched. After all, Hollywood has long been known for its powerful figures and the lengths they are willing to go to in order to maintain control. Could Orlando's arrest have been part of a calculated effort to shut him down? Was his run-in with the law not just a random incident, but rather an attempt to silence someone who had dared to speak out against the industry's most influential figures? Orlando had spent years calling out celebrities, spilling secrets, and making accusations that many dismissed as the ramblings of a troubled man. His claims about having relationships with major stars like Jay-Z, Shaquille O'Neal, and Diddy were written off as fantasy, with many people assuming that Orlando was simply struggling with his mental health. However, as more and more leaks and rumors began to surface, some started to question whether Orlando actually knew more than anyone had realized. Could it be that he had been exposing the very secrets that some powerful people in Hollywood were desperate to keep hidden? Was it possible that Orlando's wild stories had a grain of truth and his personal chaos was part of a much bigger picture? The more people learned about the details surrounding his arrest and the strange timing of his outbursts, the more questions arose. Could Orlando have been on the brink of revealing something that would have rocked the entertainment world? Was he a whistleblower targeted by those in power to prevent him from exposing the darker side of Hollywood? While the public may never know for sure, one thing was clear: Orlando Brown's life had taken a dramatic and unpredictable turn, and the events leading up to his arrest were just one part of a much larger and more complicated story. As we reflect on Orlando Brown's journey, it's important to consider the impact that the entertainment industry can have on the individuals within it. Orlando, like so many others, was thrust into the limelight at a young age, and the pressures of fame, addiction, and personal demons seemed to push him further away from stability. His run-ins with the law, combined with his public outbursts, make it difficult to separate the man from the chaos he has experienced. But when looking at the bigger picture, it's clear that Orlando's story may not just be a tale of personal destruction. Instead, it may be a warning about the darker forces at play in an industry that's often more about image and control than it is about the well-being of those involved. As fans and onlookers, we can't help but wonder what the future holds for Orlando Brown. Will he ever find peace and stability, or will his life continue to spiral? And more importantly, will we ever truly understand the full extent of what he's been through and whether his wild behavior was a form of resistance against an industry that chewed him up and spit him out? Only time will tell. But here's where things get even more suspicious. Some people are wondering if his arrest wasn't just a random event. Could it be that the entertainment industry played a part in his downfall? After all, Orlando has been exposing the shady side of Hollywood for years, revealing secrets that many big names probably didn't want getting out. The timing of his arrest, especially when he was being so vocal about his wild claims, makes some people think it could be more than just bad luck. Was this the industry trying to silence him before he spilled more secrets? At the time, many of Orlando's outlandish statements were written off as the ramblings of someone losing control. But now, with leaks and rumors starting to come out, people are starting to question if he actually knew more than we thought. Could Orlando's personal chaos be part of a much bigger story? The things he said, once dismissed as crazy talk, are starting to connect the dots in a way that's impossible to ignore. So, what do you think? Could Orlando's wild behavior be a clever way to expose Hollywood's dark side? Maybe the people he's been calling out have more to hide than we realize. Or is Orlando just another victim of an industry that chews people up and spits them out? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear what you think. And don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next, because in our next video, Freddie P is spilling the tea on how Diddy allegedly put his hands on him. You don't want to miss that one.